So the second light that we come to is what we call the fill light, and as you can see with our setup here, it's actually a light disc. It's a reflective light disc which enables us to reflect the light from the key light that we have just looked at. The fill light is mounted on the second largest tripod. Think of the three tripods as the bears in Goldilocks. The largest takes the key, the next largest takes the fill, and the smallest takes the backlight. So this works like any standard tripod. There's a lock on the base Photoflex here, a lock here, up on the top here. So again, it's right to tighten, left to loosen. So we loosen the bottom, we loosen the top, and we bring the legs out like so. And then we push down, making sure the center bar isn't the nearest to the ground. In other words, we push down until the legs support like so, and then we lock both this and this. Once that's in position, we can then raise, as you can see here, like so, and raise here, like so, and it's all about locking and panning, or rather locking and moving up and down to suit your requirements. The fill light comes with this rather weird looking Photoflex device. You can see the tripod hole is here. This slots onto the top, like so. You open the screw until it goes fully in, and then again, right to tighten to lock it into position. This funny shaped bar here enables you left to loosen, right to tighten, to move the position of the Photoflex. Turn it left, you can move it. Turn it right, it locks it. As you can see, it's just a simple, straightforward hole here into which fits what we call a C-bar. The C-bar itself is a bar within a bar. So you can see if I open this one here, I can, or rather this one here, I beg your pardon. I can extend this bar out, and then I can lock that into position. So I can make this bar as long or as short as I want. The purpose of these two hangers on it here, you can see that they've got little clasps like hair clips, and they're to lock onto your reflector board when we mount our reflector board. So I'm going to put them in an approximate position. I'm now going to feed this end here through the hole here. So basically I feed it like so. I put it through, you can see yourself here, approximately 8 inches or so, 7 or 8 inches, and I lock it off. And now, as I said, you can see the bar stays straight until I left to loosen this bar here. Left to loosen, I can maneuver the bar up, right to tighten, or left to loosen, I can maneuver the bar down, right to tighten. If I bring you over to this end here, you can see now where we mount our reflector board. We have standalone reflector boards in the storeroom. These are the little light disc ones that come with the kit you see here. Be careful opening the zip. You don't want to catch the material of the reflector light disc. So basically get your finger in under the zip, and as you open, make sure that you move your finger with the zip so as not to catch the delicate material on the little light disc inside. So here's our light disc, and you can see when I let go, it goes pop. So one side we have clear, very bright reflective material. The other side we have white, which is reflective but not as reflective as this side. I'm going to use the full reflector side this time, and I basically position this by clipping it into the two clips to hold it in position. So clips are fine in the position that I want. I'm just going to move that fractionally, and now I'm going to lock that in there like so. I'm going to get this one, and I'm going to lock that in there like so. Obviously, using our bar here, we can now left to loosen, and we can raise or lower and maneuver the disc as much as we want to catch and reflect as much light as you want. In the scenario you saw previously, this would have been to my right hand side. Position this to maximize the amount of light being reflected off the fill, or rather off the key onto the side of my face to compensate for shadows, and this becomes your fill light. When you are done with it, to basically remove it, it's a question of unclipping this like so, and then 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock is where I'm holding it, and a basic twist and turn. It goes down into its normal little size. You then pop it back into the bag like so. And again, we ask you just to be careful when zipping up. You don't want the zip to catch the material. So keep your finger in under it and use your finger as a guide so that it doesn't catch the material of the light disc itself. The light disc will then go back in the bag like so. And in relation to our C-bar, all we've got to do now is return it to its normal size. So we move the little holder back, we move this little holder forward, and then left to loosen, push the bar back to its lowest possible height. Again, we can loosen this a bit more and push it in a bit more. Tighten the two of those up, and then the release mechanism for the C-bar itself is here, left to loosen, that comes out. And then it's simply a question of lowering the tripod back down stage by stage to its lowest possible height, and ultimately then with the legs left to loosen, feed the legs back up into the body like so, or you can do it this way as I've just done here, push down like that, and lock. So our third and final light is the backlight, which you saw in the earlier demonstration. This one is easy to recognize because everything has in yellow Ddo Light written on it. The light itself, the tripod that goes with it, and the power pack that goes with it also. Let's start with the tripod. Unlike the previous tripods, this tripod only has one screw wheel here, nothing at the base. That's because it works outwardly. In other words, we loosen this and the legs peel out, the legs peel out from the body of the tripod like so, like a spider motion, okay? So you put them down and lock, make sure they're giving adequate support, and then, as with the other tripods, raise up wheel by wheel until you get it to the required height. There is no attachment for the top of this tripod. The Ddo Light itself comes with a tripod attachment on it, so you can see it there. So simply it goes in like so, and that's what locks it or loosens it into place. So, like so, drop it down, loosen the wheel until it slides into place, and once it's locked in, tighten, and we now have our Ddo Light. So, with the Ddo Light, as with the other lights that we looked at, there are a set of barn doors. So they open like so, and the interior barn doors are kind of like the wings of the Batmobile. You can change them to a rectangular shape or a triangular shape, and this enables you to create specific zones of light in terms of the specific direction that you want to beam light in. The barn doors themselves rotate. They are solid metal and they will get very hot once they've been on for any length of time. Like the studio lights that we looked at last week's tutorial, there is a little wheel here that moves it closer or further reflector-wise to the bulb itself. So if you want a dimmer light, you go closer. If you want a dimmer light, you go further away. If you want a sharper light, you go closer. And then the on-off power pack is actually just a 3-pin, exactly like your audio leads. It's the power pack itself here that's kind of interesting. The on-off switch, you can clearly see on the base, on-off. And then we have 3 settings. You can choose to put it to, let me hold it the right way for you. You can choose to put that to dimmer mode, 3200K or 3400K. 3200 is the least amount of light this will throw, 3400 is the max. And if you go down to dimmer mode, you control that by basically moving this lever up and down to dictate how much light you want given to the Ddo Light. Remember, your backlight to separate your subject from the background. The Velcro holds the cables in place, but as you can clearly see here, the 3 holes here go into the 3 prongs on this cable here. Lock it in, release mechanism on this. What we then tend to do is take this little bit of wire here and just drape it over the top of the tripod wheel there. That way when you raise it up, it's not going to put pressure by dangling this. So once you plug it in, before you turn it on, tilt it approximately 45 degrees downward. You want your light coming down on the subject from above. Remember, the point of this light is to separate them from the background. You can choose what angle you want your barn doors to go. You can choose the shape of the light it's going to throw. You then turn on the unit by pressing the on-off switch on the base. And you can see I'm currently in dimmer mode, but if I go to 3200, that's the weakest light, 3400, the strongest light. In dimmer mode, I control the amount of light that I throw myself by moving this up and down. And remember, the purpose of this light is to illuminate the subject and separate them from the background. We want the light on the hairline and shoulder line, not full in the face. When done, power off here. Remember, with these metal barn doors, this will get extremely hot, so give it time to cool down. You can also see there's little gel holders here if you want to put a coloured light on these backlights. So you can close in the smaller windows, the smaller barn doors first, close up the larger ones, and then to remove, simply disengage the power cable. And with our wheel on the back here, left to loosen, raise off the tripod, and that unit goes back into the casing like so. The tripod, as with all the tripods, is normal up to this point in that we lower it down. But remember with this one, it's the legs that feed onto the tripod and not the other way around. So with this last wheel here, we basically open it and then the legs physically feed up onto the tripod like so. And once you've got them in position, you lock. At this stage, I think you know how to wrap away cables, so I'll entrust that you will wrap away them properly.